So somebody want to, you guys will, there you go. And then we'll have Council President Sheffield here. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, or here.
I know I never do either, but I
Okay.
did for today.
Can you guys trade?
Yeah.
Can you trade with them?
I got
You
you.
know.
Do you want me to sit?
No, I'm gonna sit here.
You're going to sit here?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Dr. Cox, can we scoot you over here?
You sure can.
Absolutely.
You tell us where you want us, Gary.
That's perfect.
all right, so good morning, everyone. My name is Chuck Sims. I'm the Executive Fire Commissioner for the City of Detroit Fire Department. I want to say thank you, everyone, for coming, all the first responders, all the clergy, all the community partners. Just thank you for coming. This is a great day for the Detroit Fire Department and the City of Detroit. Thank you. I would be remiss if I did not thank every man and woman on the Detroit Fire Department for their commitment and dedication to the citizens and the visitors of Detroit. Thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I want to thank Mayor Duggan and City Council President Sheffield. Mayor Duggan, he'll be here shortly, but I just want to thank them for their continued support. They've always supported our vision and our goals, and I just want to thank them, like I said, for continuing that support. So just to start off, about a year ago, our medical director, Dr. Dunn, he came to me and he brought up this initiative of HEARTSafe Community. And originally, I didn't know what it was. I said, well, explain it to me. And he explained it to me. And because I'm such a community-based commissioner, I said, let's move forward. Let's do it. You have 100% of my support. We started throwing weekly meetings, and then we had a couple other champions come on board. And because of that, we are now a HEARTSafe community. And I do want to say it's not only the designation, but this is a testament of the Detroit firefighters' commitment to the health and safety of anyone who lives, visits, or works in Detroit. Thank you. DFD has taken vital steps to ensure our community is prepared, proactive, and protected. We are laying the foundation of preparedness and compassion that will undoubtedly save lives. At this time, I would like to ask all surrounding communities to please join Detroit in becoming a HEARTSafe community so we can strive to be a HEARTSafe region in the state of Michigan. At this time, I'm now going to call up Captain Forbes. Thank you, from our EMS Training Division.
Thank you, Commissioner Sims, for the kind words. And without your leadership and guidance, this would not have been possible. So some of you might ask the question, what is a HEARTSafe community? So the Citizen CPR Foundation, which manages the HEARTSafe community, there's 13 rigorous points that we had to meet to become a HEARTSafe community. Obviously, CPR is a huge part of it. As part of that, we had to train a minimum of 15% of the population of Detroit in at least hands-only CPR. We blew that out of the water with training over 100,000 citizens in Detroit in CPR. But I would be wrong if the Detroit Fire Department took all the credit for that. This could not be possible without our community partners. There was community partners in this effort that didn't even realize they were community partners. A lot of it was just Detroiters being Detroiters and loving your community and taking care of your community. And we talk about CPR, but also a portion of this was the health and wellness and looking at heart prevention and looking at heart and health safety was a huge part of it. We look at our 911 operators, telephone CPR. For somebody that has never done CPR before, telephone CPR is extremely important. When you call 911 and somebody is in cardiac arrest, they will coach you through how to do hands-only CPR. And we look at it. Right now, the Detroit Fire Department has some of the best response times in the country. But without the citizens of Detroit actually doing CPR, our save rate would not be possible without them. When we look at Detroit a year ago, we only knew where a couple AEDs were in the city of Detroit. Now we know where over 500 AEDs are in the city of Detroit. I urge everyone to please download the Pulse Point AED app. It is the yellow one. Download it. You see an AED, you add an AED, you help save a life. In the event someone is in cardiac arrest, number one, make sure you're calling 911, start CPR, and get an AED. With the Pulse Point AED app that actually connects, it's a crowdsourced app where anybody can look up where an AED is, whether you're in Detroit or surrounding community. As Commissioner Sims said, we urge our surrounding communities to please become a HEARTSafe community. This needs to be a regional effort to make the Metro Detroit area safer for everybody. And now I'm going to bring up Dr. Dunn, and he's going to give you a little bit of history about cardiac arrest and cardiac arrest data, since he has been studying cardiac arrest since about 20 years now. Dr. Dunn?
Thanks, Captain. Thank you, Commissioner. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Almost exactly 20 years ago, I sat down with the then Chief of EMS, Gary Kelly, and we were talking about how to improve patient outcomes. We had a wide-ranging discussion, but what we really came up with is that we needed to build a data system. And this was an era where the EMS records and the hospital records to find follow-up were all on paper. So we had to build a team to do that. And that started us on our journey, because you can't improve what you're not measuring, right? So we had to put that together. Today, we've got some recognition from the Citizen CPR Foundation as a HEARTSafe community. That recognition is not a pat on the back or a handshake for a job well done. That recognition is a push to keep going, to improve, right? It's not a one and done. In the 20 years that we've been doing this, we have made significant strides. So you hear about our first responders. For years, we didn't have a first responder program. Now we have a model first responder program. The International Association of Firefighters uses us as an example of how to do this right. We train our crews in pit crew style CPR. We have call takers that coach CPR. We have more community members than ever who can recognize and respond to a cardiac arrest. Most importantly, we have more Detroiters alive today because of the efforts that have been made the last 20 years, not just by the fire department and our 911 service, but by the entire citizens of Detroit. But we're not resting, we're not putting our feet up, we're working on training even more people. We're deploying our advanced life support resources more strategically. We're working with health systems to establish cardiac arrest centers of excellence so that after we bring a patient to the hospital, they can get the absolute state-of-the-art care. When we celebrate a survivor, we recognize every step. From that initial person who recognized that cardiac arrest, they call 911, they start CPR, they get an AED if it's available, to the first responders, the ambulance crews, and the specialists and care providers in the health systems that get that patient home successfully. We also work to improve the health of Detroiters. I would rather prevent a cardiac arrest than have to respond to one. And we do that through a lot of our teams. The next person I want to introduce here is Dr. Philip Levy. He is a professor of emergency medicine and physiology, an associate vice president for translational science at Wayne State University, and he directs the mobile health unit program for Detroit. Wayne State has been a partner all along. They provide data management. In fact, they help manage the entire state cardiac arrest data system right now. They provide training through a university-wide initiative that gets people into the community. They support our emergency medical services fellowship at the fire department, and they provide community health intervention. So, Dr. Levy.
Thanks, Rob. And on behalf of Wayne State University, I congratulate you, the Detroit Fire Department, the City of Detroit, Mayor Duggan, and everyone here on achieving HEARTSafe Community designation. This is the largest municipality in the entire country to ever achieve this, which is quite an accomplishment. And Dr. Dunn's being a little modest in what's been accomplished. When I moved here 20 years ago from New York, the cardiac arrest survival rate in the city of Detroit was less than 1%, almost half of 1%. In the 20 years that you've been doing this work, that's gone up tenfold. That means more family members available for holidays, more mothers and fathers there for birthdays and celebrations. And it cannot be accomplished without citizens stepping up. The thing that keeps people alive with a cardiac arrest in the community is when someone gets there before EMS does to start CPR. We don't need to do mouth-to-mouth anymore, which a lot of people were scared of. We could do hands-only CPR, and Dr. Dunn and his team have led this initiative. But as he said, really the next phase is how do we prevent people from having cardiac arrest? How do we prevent people from having heart disease and strokes? It's by all of us championing the concept of wellness. It's by all of us telling our neighbors, our friends, our family to get out, get your blood pressure measured, get your lab work done, know if you have diabetes or high cholesterol. If you're smoking, stop smoking. The city of Detroit has one of the highest smoking rates in the entire country, right? We can do things that can prevent this. And as Detroit often does, we're leading the nation in this concept of mobile health outreach. We have achieved tremendous grant funding, tremendous success, but more importantly, we've encountered people in the community, we've gotten people to get in and get their blood pressure taken care of, get their medical conditions managed so that they can live long, healthy lives. Because at the end of the day, that's the most important thing, right? The wellness of Detroit and longevity of our community. So again, on behalf of Wayne State, congratulations to all Detroiters for this accomplishment. And yes, let's get all of our communities to be heart safe. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you, Dr. Levy. At this time, I want to bring up our mayor, Honorable Mayor Mike Duggan, our biggest supporter.
Well, I had to come and say congratulations to Commissioner Sims and to everybody here, the men and women in the fire department. I just think about where we started out. We had fire trucks broken down in firehouses. If they did operate, we didn't always have all the equipment on the trucks. We didn't always have supplies in the firehouses. The ambulances could take an hour to show up. And the leadership of the fire department for years just focused on fixing our internal systems to provide basic services. The idea that Commissioner Sims and, of course, the great Rob Dunn and the help with all the partners here would be to the point where we're not worrying about our own operations, we're worrying about the health of the community. We're getting out there and talking to people about being trained in CPR and to be the largest municipality to get the HEARTSafe designation. It's just really extraordinary what this department has accomplished, how far you've come, and I just came to say thank you to everybody who's a part of it and congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So at this time, I'm going to call up Reverend Dr. Laverne Cox from Church of Our Father Missionary Baptist.
Good morning to Mayor Duggan, to Commissioner Sims, and to each and every one of you, and I'm going to say all of God's children. Good morning. It is such a pleasure to be here. I myself was born, raised, and educated in the city of Detroit. I am a retired registered nurse. My church is a small church on the east side of Detroit where Reverend Bernard Biles is the pastor. And I am director of training at Church of Our Father, so I bring in the training programs, and this happens to be one of them. I first learned about this program when I saw it advertised on television when they had it at Northwest Activity Center. And I said, well, you know, they have it on the west side. What about the east side? And so I contact Captain Forbes, and he readily set up a date for me, and we had an opportunity to have it at Church of Our Father in June, in which we did certify 100 people from Church of Our Father on the east side. In addition to that, I asked several other churches to come and participate, as well as the community. We were kind of limited in our ability to do advertising, and so we put flyers out in the community. We notified the additional churches that were in the neighborhood and sent them flyers and asked them to come and participate, and they did. But again, if we had had more time to advertise, I think we could have attracted more people to come. I have always known that this was important for everyone to know how to do CPR. As a registered nurse, I worked in the emergency room at hospitals you may not have heard of, Old North Detroit General Hospital, that sat on the border of Detroit and Hamtramck. And EMS would come in many times and they would say there was 100 people at that house and nobody was doing anything. Well, they didn't know how. And so I've always known it was important for us to know how to do CPR. We had an incident at Church of Our Father some years ago in which one of our members collapsed in the church and passed away, and because no one knew what to do, and I happened not to be there on that Sunday. But nevertheless, I think it was something vital to our community is for people to know how to do CPR. And I tell people all the time, the life that you save may very well be the person that you love. So yes, it's important. And I'm so thankful for Captain Forbes, and we're going to continue to collaborate together to make sure that we have this as an ongoing project at Church of Our Father. We will have it in the spring, and we're going to try to do it again in the fall so that we can continue to spread the word on the east side of Detroit so people can learn how to do CPR. And I thank you once again, Captain Forbes, because without him, we probably would never have heard of this program. Thank you all again.
Thank you, Dr. Cox. And now I'm going to bring up one of our community heroes, Gregory Pope III.
Good morning. My name is Gregory Pope. I attend Henry Ford High School, where I participate in track and football. Story I like to say, it was me and my dad. We was playing a video game. It's typical Saturday, and we heard the dispatch call in our neighbor's car. So we went outside. We didn't know what to do. So we had to help them pull him out the car so we can give him CPR. The dispatch caller said this, perform CPR. Nobody knew what to do. We froze. Everybody froze but me. I got down doing CPR, and it's crazy how I learned CPR is from Grey's Anatomy, watching it with my mom. While she was pregnant with my little brother. So it's important for us to learn CPR because anything can happen any given day. So I feel like thank you for the firefighters and people for teaching people how to do CPR on a daily basis, because anything can happen any given day. Thank you.
All right, so that concludes our press conference. We would ask if all the community partners please come up so we could take a photo together with you, please. Oh, yeah. And the unveiling of our HeartSafe Community sign.